Close your eyes. Let your breathing slow. Let the world around you begin to fade. You are no longer here. You are somewhere else entirely, somewhere distant, ancient and eternal. You are in Rome. The air smells of oil lamps and stone warmed by the sun. The flicker of torchlight reflects off smooth marble walls. You walk slowly through a great stone corridor. You pass statues of forgotten gods. You hear soft echoes, voices from the past. You have stepped into the heart of a story that shaped the world, the story of Julius Caesar. He was born in 100 BC into the Julii family, one of Rome's oldest lines. The Julii were not the wealthiest nor the most powerful, but they carried pride in their blood and ambition in their bones. Caesar's aunt had married Gaius Marius, a powerful general and a man who had transformed the Roman military. Through Marius, Caesar saw that greatness did not come from birth alone. It had to be seized. As a child, Caesar was taught to speak, to argue, to command. He studied rhetoric and poetry. He listened carefully to the debates in the Senate. He watched the ceremonies, the rituals, the displays of power. From early on, he understood Rome not just as a city, but as a stage. Every gesture, every speech, every law passed or broken, it all shaped the world. His youth was not without danger. Rome was unstable, caught in the grip of political conflict. The optimates, the conservative elite, fought to preserve their control. The populares, backed by the people, sought reform. Caesar leaned toward the populares. He was not born a revolutionary, but he saw early on that true power rested not just in tradition, but in the people's hearts. He climbed the ladder of Roman politics carefully. He served in the military, won honors in Asia, and returned to Rome as a man of growing reputation. He gave lavish games and entertained the masses. He borrowed heavily, going deep into debt to win favor. But every coin he spent was a step towards something greater. Soon, he found himself among powerful allies. Marcus Licinius Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome. Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus, known simply as Pompey, a celebrated general and former ally of Sulla. Together, they formed what modern historians call the First Triumvirate, a secret alliance to control Roman politics. Crassus brought money. Pompey brought soldiers. Caesar brought the people. With their backing, Caesar was elected consul, the highest office in the Republic. But he was just getting started. After his consulship, he was given command of several provinces, including Gaul. There, in the cold forests and vast fields beyond the Alps, Caesar began his conquest. For nearly a decade, he led his legions through brutal campaigns, defeating Gallic tribes, building bridges across rivers, and laying siege to cities. His commentaries on the Gallic War, written in the third person, reported these events back to Rome in simple, powerful language. They were both military reports and masterful propaganda. His fame grew. His wealth multiplied. His army adored him. He became more than a general. He became a symbol. A man who had brought Rome glory again. But power always breeds fear. Back in Rome, the alliance unraveled. Crassus died in battle. Pompey, now aligned with the Senate, grew wary of Caesar's influence. The Senate ordered Caesar to disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen. If he obeyed, he would be defenseless. If he refused, he would become a traitor. At the edge of Italy, Caesar paused by the Rubicon River. He knew the law. Crossing it with his army would be an act of civil war. But he also knew that retreat meant ruin. He crossed. "The die is cast," he said. Rome held its breath. What followed was a bitter war. Caesar's forces moved swiftly. Pompey fled to Greece. In battle after battle, Caesar proved victorious. He pursued Pompey across the Mediterranean and into Egypt, where he encountered Queen Cleopatra. The two became allies, and more. He helped her reclaim her throne, and in return, she helped him secure Egypt as a Roman ally. Caesar returned to Rome a conqueror. He was appointed dictator, first for a short term, then for 10 years, and finally for life. He reformed the calendar, created new colonies, and passed laws that benefited the poor. He rebuilt temples, regulated grain distribution, and curbed corruption. To many, he brought order and prosperity, but to others, he had become a tyrant. He rejected the crown when it was offered to him, but not all believed he meant it. Statues were raised in his image, coins bore his face. He wore the purple robes of kings. The Senate, once a body of equals, had become little more than an audience to his will. And so, the whispers grew louder. Among those who feared his power were some of the most respected men in Rome. Marcus Junius Brutus, philosopher, senator, friend of Caesar, was torn. He loved Caesar, but loved the Republic more. Gaius Cassius, fiery and suspicious, saw in Caesar the death of Roman liberty. Together they gathered others, some out of principle, some out of pride, some out of fear. They called themselves liberators. They believed they were saving the Republic. Caesar, meanwhile, prepared for a new campaign, this time against Parthia. He planned to leave within weeks, but fate would not let him go. On the morning of March 15, 44 BC, the Ides of March, Caesar was urged to stay home. His wife Calpurnia had dreamed of his death. The priest found troubling omens. A soothsayer warned him, "Beware the Ides of March." Caesar laughed it off. Death, he believed, came for all men, and he would not hide from it. He walked through the forum to the Senate. The air was still, the sky overcast. He entered the theatre of Pompey, where the Senate was meeting. As he took his seat, the conspirators approached. They surrounded him. And then, one by one, they struck. Caesar resisted at first, but then he saw Brutus. "Et tu, Brute," he said. "Even you?" His strength left him. He fell to the marble floor, bleeding beneath the statue of Pompey, his former rival. He died not as a king, nor as a god, but as a man, betrayed by those he once called friends. The city was paralyzed. The conspirators, believing they had liberated Rome, marched into the streets. But the people did not celebrate. They grieved. Mark Antony, Caesar's most loyal ally, delivered a eulogy that shook the city. He read Caesar's will, which left money and land to the citizens. He held up the blood-stained cloak. He did not call for revenge, but the crowd took it anyway. Riots broke out. Fires spread. The conspirators fled. The Republic was dead, even if they didn't know it yet. In the power vacuum, a new struggle began. Caesar's heir, Octavian, barely 19, rose to prominence. He joined with Antony and Lepidus to form the Second Triumvirate. Together, they defeated the assassins of Caesar at the Battle of Philippi. But alliances, once again, crumbled. Antony fell in love with Cleopatra. Octavian accused him of treason. War erupted once more. At the Battle of Actium, Octavian triumphed. Antony and Cleopatra took their own lives. Octavian returned to Rome. He became Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. He claimed he had restored the Republic, but power told the truth. He ruled alone. And so the Republic gave way to empire. But Caesar remained, not in body, but in name. His title became eternal: Caesar, Emperor, a word that would echo through centuries, from Rome to Byzantium to Russia and beyond. Tsar, Kaiser, Emperor. The world would never forget the name of Julius Caesar. Yet what remains is more than just power. It is the memory of a man, brilliant, bold, flawed. A man who dared to defy convention, who gave the world order and then chaos, who crossed rivers, conquered nations, and changed the very way power was understood. He was not just a general, not just a politician. He was a force, and he met the end that so many great men do, not on the battlefield, but in silence, surrounded by whispers and blades. Now, as you lie here in the quiet of night, imagine walking the empty streets of ancient Rome. The lamps flicker gently. The stone beneath your feet is smooth and cool. Statues stand watch. The wind carries the scent of rosemary and ash. You turn a corner and find the forum. It is empty, or so it seems. But there in the distance a shadow moves. A man in a white toga, walking alone. His pace is slow. His head is high. The city sleeps, but he remembers. That man is Caesar, still walking, still watching. Let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts drift across centuries. Sleep now, and let history hold you drifter.